Yo, Everyday Superpower, the place where you learn about body language, human dynamics, game, everything in between. 2 links down in the description worth checking out. Now, let's get on to the conversation. Let me see what I've noted down. So, I've been on a few dates, yeah? And this topic is going to be about your communication as far as storytelling, as far as successfully engaging in a separate and a deeper level as to what the majority of people do. Okay? We talk about this and reference this from time to time. I say live a harder life. I say live a more ambitious life. I know it's easier said than done, but you can do it by default by putting away the crap that makes life easy. You can put away the entertainment. You can stop sitting on that money that's creating an exorbitant amount of comfort in your life. You can just rid of it all and start to make something of yourself and have a story to tell. Because the thing is, if you are on your deathbed and you have a story to tell, and whether you've done bad things or not, if you sit there and you have a story to tell, that's a story that can be spoken to other people, and that's a life of experience you have which others don't. So let me tell you a story. I went on a date, and I ended up going back with her, and I say to her, what made me different, You play yourself a little bit naive, and also it's good to genuinely ask. I love to engage with women more so than men, especially on relationship matters, purely as with men it's talking about issues, with women it's talking about problem solving. It's about how can I get better? How can I engage with you better? What do you look for in a man? Blah, 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 on and on and on. And it's good, more beneficial conversation as far as relationships are concerned. So we're on a date, and I say, what have you? Well, first and foremost, I just made a passing comment. Keeping up to date with things. You've been single for so long. Like, what's going on? Who have you seen since? What made you choose me? Not necessarily out of what made you choose me to come on a date, because that could be anyone and everyone, the bar might not be too high for that. But as far as where we ended up going from there in that exact same night, I did inquire why. And this has a knock-on effect to something else I'm going to speak on in this video. I'm going to highlight it. And as with the body language, as with effective communication and reading people, not only will you naturally do it, but you'll only emphasize it by consciously paying attention and acknowledging patterns, recognizing patterns in people's behaviors, in tribal behaviors, so groups of people, how they behave. And you'll see them across the world with each and every person you speak to. And you'll see these patterns emerge so much that you can essentially establish a foundation of understanding on how people will work, generally based on the mathematics you sort of uncover as you go along, continuously being interested in people's behavior. I ask her, what made me different, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not tooting my horn, because let's be real, I'm not something special. I'm not a Hollywood superstar. I'm not wealthy. I don't own a incredible company. I'm not, your equivalent to Brad Pitt and so on and so forth. I'm just a normal person like you, right? I mean, I've got my own interests, and I know who I am and what to highlight and what to be honest about, i.e. everything, but I can honestly sort of highlight my positives in a means which separates me from others. And she says, last person that I went on a date with, just talking about, friends and work and family and stuff like that. And there's not... that's very over-encompassing. It's a bold blanket statement, but you know what she meant by that. And if you don't, let me elaborate. The last person she went on a date with was boring, because he just spoke on mundane issues and topics. To make a passing comment about family, or to say, oh, I do this because of this, and to say you're a protector and a carer and all this and that, might be quite enticing. It might be quite a seductive topic. But to spend your day talking about people that aren't you, if you're trying to sell yourself, if anything, you're selling other people as opposed to yourself. Generally, if you're talking about what other people are doing, When you're talking about the work and all this and that, bro, everybody works, and more than likely more than likely she works. She's employed to some degree, given the world we live in, and well, she bloody best because she's going half and half with me. I'm not buying her drinks, am I? It's first date, so she wants to essentially escape the mundanities of her own 9 to 5, if not 10 to 8, if not blah de blah de blah. So why are we gonna spend some time together on our time off, our finite time off in our finite life, to continue talking about a situation that might not necessarily correlate with our best interests? We might not want to work the jobs we work. Generally speaking, that's the case. I assure you, for the most part, she don't want to go to work, man. So even by talking about your own work, what you're doing is creating a mirror as to which she feels involved in this captive sphere of work-based topic. It's mundane to her, alright? Let's talk about exciting things. Let's talk about her. Let's talk about her. And you know, the thing is, it'll be the same thing on the flip side. If we talk about her and she just starts talking about how boring her life is, and she talks about, you know, it's alright to hear about her family. If anything, it's quite beneficial to you to understand who she is, where she's come from, and you can sort of, you know, add up the dots. But it's just, there needs to be an edge. There needs to be a special perspective. There needs to be discussion on the future, where you're going, the projects you have, the ambition you have, the experiences outside of the norm you've had, the information you've absorbed, not in a boring, oh, I watched a documentary and blah de blah sort of way, but a nonchalant, just wow factor that hasn't existed in the dates and the people who she's come beforehand, you know? That's how you'd be perceived as special. And the thing is, you don't just drop it all on her. You genuinely are this character who has this incredible deep depth of character that you're only giving away, you know, but mere, you know, insights into these things. You're not telling the depth and the root of all of this. Give us space to wonder. You're incredibly unique, and your depth of knowledge and understanding and direction and thought process is so much more different and captivating than anybody she's bumped into before. Come on, let's not be stupid. There's nothing worse, man, to going on a date and talking about work and talking about... I don't care about your workplace past, you know, a few statements. I don't care about your friends and family. Fuck them. I'm here for you. And I'm here to get laid, let's be real, such as you. You're on a date with me because there's some degree of sexual attraction that has got us into this place. If everything goes well, we'll end up procreating, or the near like, right? The equivalent. So, why am I here talking about your friends and family? Why am I here talking about, you know what I mean, the workplace you don't want to work in, to be honest? Let's talk about your dreams and desires and the cool stuff. What makes you you, not what other people have made you into. Boring. Now, the second knock-on conversation I had a separate conversation, had a few drinks with a girl, yeah? She's taken, she's got a partner. Still, you can ask them all the questions in the world, right? Because we're not provocative in a manner as to which turns girls off. Don't matter whether they're taken, married, this, that, or the third. We can have good, honest conversation about, well, let's be fair, we're not threatening, right? I've done a couple of videos now in regards to being threatening and blah, 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 blah. We want to engage with as many women as possible. We need to ask them as many questions as possible. They'll give you the answers as far as relationships and attraction and seduction is concerned, yeah? They'll happily talk to you about that. The next man, what does he know? The general man knows naff all about it. might have some game, might have a particular angle, and you can have a look at that, but that's not you. You have your own characteristics, your own traits, yeah? So, speaking to this next girl, I say, what does the general man? Because I'm not the general man, right? I wouldn't say I'm introverted, but I'd rather stick to myself and get stuff done and be creative as opposed to be a buzzing socialite butterfly who has to oblige by what others think of me and always be present in some sort of social situation. I don't isolate myself, but it's not my character to be this overt extra person who's always the life of the party and so forth. That's not me. The person who is very attractive, all right? So we don't have it all, but I can't be that person. I cannot be that person. So I say that to say this. I ask her, she's a very beautiful woman. I say, what do most men have in common? Generally speaking, what's a man thing? What's a man thing? And she goes, oh, talk about football. And I say, is that it? Yeah, talk about football. So we're talking about other men and what they're doing. That's irrelevant. Why am I going to go on a date and talk about other men? That's a reoccurring theme that men have in common. And that had a knock-on effect and a string between that and the earlier reference of going on a date and her saying, oh, all he talked about was this, and this. All right, what have you got to offer? What have you got to offer? This is a reoccurring pattern. Like I said, most of this channel at this point is about pattern recognition and applying that to your life, because that really is the understanding of things. That is the resolute answer to how you get good at this game. Just understanding the patterns, applying it tenfold, seeing it continue to manifest as you go through life, only reinforcing them patterns. And you're just like, whoa. Everyone has a foundational likeness. Then they might fire off in two different directions. I understand what happens if they take this way. I understand what happens if they take this way. You know what I mean? There's a man, there's a woman. They have biological drives that lead them this way. They have biological drives that lead them that way. Generally speaking, this is attracted to that. Generally speaking, this is attracted to that. This is why that's attracted to that. This is why that's attracted to that. And, you know, it's just... You develop this macro sight of things which just oversimplifies everything to the point where you just have this fingertip touch of understanding. She tells me, most men just talk about football. Right, so you tell me you're going on a date saying, oh, did you watch the football game? Did you watch what a bunch of men who are in better shape than me, a bunch of men that might be younger than me, a bunch of men that are more successful than me, more famous than me? Do you see what they're doing? I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them to win. As opposed to rooting for yourself to win. It's sad. It's bad. It's a bad situation. So don't generalize, and you can support your team. It's completely natural to support a team of such. It's tribalism, right? But have a look at what makes you you. Don't puff your chest out and overcompensate. Be realistic, but have something about you. Do something. Be creating something that is actually worthy of speaking to, worthy of respect, worthy of actually just brushing on by. Because you don't want to be sitting there for 2 hours straight talking about the same old crap, thinking that they care about it. We've all come across that person, haven't we? We've all come across that fella who like talks about what he does, and it's just like, shut up, mate. Nobody asked. So you have to find the sweet spot, but be different. Oh, it's easier said than done. Turn off the video console. Turn off Netflix. Have a think about what you can do today, tonight. Start executing. Start creating a story. Simples. Alright? On that note, I'm signing out. Click like and subscribe. 2 links down in the description. Check them out.